Hey, happy Thursday! I'm Clover Thursday and welcome back to my channel. This will be a short but sweet video. I was doing some scenes and I don't do that too often and I never have on my channel, so I thought I'd do some recording and talk about my process and how I make a scene a little less daunting for myself and maybe a little less daunting for you. And if not, just a nice video to watch. I start off with a pen sketch I had in my book since forever. I really wanted to do something with this little sketch, so I'm starting off with the grayscale method. And I know what you're thinking, Clover, are you colorblind? That is super blue. But it's the same idea. I'm only working in shades of blue for now, so my brain's still focusing more on value, light, and shadow instead of trying to pick colors and color things in. For example, brown for the wood, green for the leaves, red for the fire, which can kind of work against you when you're trying to establish an atmosphere in a scene. So quickly under the sketch, I'm roughing out tones. Darkest parts around the furthest from the fire, this little character sitting at, and brightest near the point of the fire. And just really establishing those big relationships as quickly and as grossly as possible. So from these extremes, I'm organizing tones to fall between that. Darker tones further from the light source, lighter tones closer to the light source. I'm also trying to think, during this gross roughen stage, what surfaces, the light would catch. I did jump in and very quickly, actually add some line art too, because I wasn't gonna go full shape design in this. I did want a little bit of line, so I just kind of bashed those in too. And once I kind of got those big darks and those big lights, there are times I jump in and, start adding some subtleties and cleaning up some of the mess now that I actually have line art in place. And I'm not gonna sit here and act like I am superb at drawing backgrounds and stuff, but these are just ways that I do it in a way to be able to do it and able to do it kind of more consistently and more efficiently and more professionally, I guess, if you could say, because I've always talked about this. You're not always ideally going to be drawing a character standing in an ideal position with ideal lighting in a colorful void. So I think it's always nice to kind of practice these things. And I'm just kind of also adding a little detail. In the sketch, she had a little pattern on her skirt. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna add that back in. We'll see how much you can even see it. And I'm also tweaking her face because although she's only a tiny part of this scene, I still can't help tweaking characters and giving them a little extra love. If you haven't noticed, I was actually using a blending brush to kind of smooth out a lot of the chunkier, harsher shading lines I didn't want. And I've used that in a past video. I think it was my mermaid one, it's really handy, especially to be on the skin when you kind of want some smoother transitions and not so much blockiness going on. And here I'm actually using a gradient, which you know how much I love gradients, but they're actually really handy in the situation to kind of create more all-encompassing shading. And here I'm also adding almost even a brighter tone, almost closest to white, just sort of to create more of a glow in the fire and to kind of sharpen up edges and add almost a little level of finish just to have that extra bit of almost not quite specular highlight because it's not shiny, but to have that really extra bright area, and it really draws your focus and attention to that area. Now I could almost leave this at this stage, but it's almost too blue, maybe a bit one-dimensional, so I'm actually copying the lightest bright layer that I just put down, and I kept separate from everything else for this reason, and I'm making it more yellow, and then I'm adding some color to the wood because I think adding some color to that will make a big difference. It'll make the scene a bit more interesting to look at and your eyes aren't just kind of going over this homogeneous blue. Blending modes are your best friend, by the way, too, because even if you did color this entire scene in its local colors, wood brown, leaves green, having that mood color on top or underneath, so that blue wash, and then playing around with the blending modes, you can make that color match your mood more without painting it as such or figuring out what that color would be. So I use like a hard light and dial down the opacity so the color of the wood and the forest matched with my scene. But yeah, here's my little scene. It was a fun little thing to do, and I hope you don't mind the smaller, shorter video. If you like it, I don't know. Like this video or leave a comment if you did, or if you didn't. Let's have a convo. And subscribe to my channel for more videos. There's a new video up every Thursday for your viewing pleasure. And you can follow and support me with all my social media links down below. And I'll also leave a link to the mermaid video I was talking about. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I'll see you next week. Bye!